Greetings, this is Top Hat and Buttered Popcorn. My name is John Savers. I'm your host, and today we'll take a look at a couple of films, beginning with The Day the Earth Stood Still. This is a film that was directed by Scott Derrickson. It has a screenplay by David Scarpa, which is apparently a kind of remake and with contemporary social considerations of today, such as greenism and so forth. This is a rewrite of an Edmund North a screenplay for the classic 51 version of the film by the same name. And that particular film was inspired by a short story about 1940 entitled A Farewell to the Master. It stars Keanu Reeves as Klaatu and Jennifer Connelly as a Dr. Helen Benson. Jaden Smith stars as Jacob Benson. John Cleese shows up as a Professor Bernhardt, and we have a James Hong as Mr. Wu, and a cast of many. This is a film which is one of those films that has a theme, change or die, basically. There have been quite a few of these, many of which were focused on fear of nuclear war and the consideration that our science has far advanced our character traits, and that if we cannot or do not do something about those character traits, we will end up annihilating ourselves. Now, this particular film opens up in a mountainous, snowy regime. I forget exactly what the mountain range is, Karakoram or something like that. It's not. It is a group separate from the Himalayas, but in the same vast general area, and with mountains competitively tall. I think K2 is in that particular group. But at any rate, it's inhospitably a high, cold, icy area. There is a scene, an opening scene of a gent in a sort of a base camp tent. We see him stirring, making some coffee or some sort of nutrient. It's Reeves, of course. He puts on his winter garb, his climbing shoes and so forth, we see him making his way laboriously higher. He comes to an area that is relatively flat. At the opposite end of the place where he entered it is a spherical object covered with snow ice. He goes over and he kind of cleans it up, and we see that it is sort of alive. It's a sphere that seems to have internal life, radiations, movements of some sort, electric or possibly gaseous. But at any rate, definitely a curiosity in terms of this Earth. What has brought this particular man to this place? It appears to be the sphere. Is this individual a human, or an alien? To tell you the truth, I don't know. He is struck by something. I won't call it zigzag lightning, but there is some sort of eruption of force that seems to obliterate, annihilate him. And then we see when it all kind of clears up that he's on the ground. He seems to be unconscious. And whether or not this is a taking of possession or a sort of recharging of a previously deposited alien entity, they may need recharging from time to time. We don't know, but we do have a film cut about this point to Dr. Helen Benson teaching her college students in some zoological area or other. Now, it's not any of those lowbrow high school type of courses now. This is one of those that would have some sort of title like micro, nano, biological transmutation or something. It's Princeton, you know. It's not going to be anything other than egghead. Now, she assigns her students some duties to do after class is dismissed. There will be a test and so forth. We follow her home. We get a taste of her domestic situation. She has a stepson played by Jaden Smith named Jacob. Now, his father, her former husband, was a soldier who was killed in Iraq in that one of those wars, whether it was Bush Sr. or Bush Jr. there, I can't say, but at any rate, the lad is a little bit disturbed about this situation. He idolized his father. His father was a kind of a Superman to him, a hero, a man of action, two-fisted, wouldn't take any sass from anybody, whatnot. And he sees this stepmother as quite the opposite kind of person, and also as a kind of intruder to his grotto of worship for his father. He wants to be sort of like his father. And maybe Helen Benson stands for something far removed in his mind from the sort of life his father had. And even though his father apparently loved her enough to marry her and so forth and vice versa, that apparently did not cut it sufficiently in Jaden's mind. And now that he's dead, he may even somewhat blame her. Maybe she's not mourning enough or something. I don't know what the deal. The boy is acting up a little bit. She tries to deal with it. There's a knock at the door, and who would be there other than the men in black? She doesn't want to leave. They escort her involuntarily, so to speak. She's placed in a vehicle. Eventually finds herself in a van with a gaggle of others that is quickly perceived to be a boatload of really prominent scientists, mathematicians, chemists, and that sort of thing. They find themselves, they arrive at a location apparently run by the Department of Defense, and they are made privy to a certain event involving an outer space entity which had perhaps first been perceived as a comet or asteroid that was scheduled to come close enough to the Earth to be a little bit of an uneasy matter, but was not reckoned to actually hit, or that did not seem to be the trajectory. But suddenly something changed with the trajectory. They knew that a comet or asteroid or something of this sort would have to follow the principles of physics and adhere to a fairly normal path. The fact that this particular body acted in an aberrant way suggested that it had some sort of intelligent life aboard or outside guiding it. What is it? It's also headed for the Earth. What do they want? What's this all about? Heading this whole body is Secretary of Defense Regina Jackson, played by Kathy Bates. She's very no-nonsense about this. She is in control. She's tough. She tells these scientists, give me your heads. I must have your best opinion and all this kind of thing and whatnot. She's not going to be the first Secretary of State to oversee the destruction or loss of the enslavement of America or something of that kind. This sort of statement is common amongst politicians. Lyndon Johnson had something of the same in regard to Vietnam. It's a vanity that seems to be consistently in the persons of people of high estate. It's a terrible thing when you can't say, I'm wrong. But unfortunately, many of these people find that the most difficult challenge of all. Now, this particular study group realizes that there is going to be contact of some sort. A landing occurs in Central Park, which is rather handy since we seem to have a group in and about Princeton University in New Jersey, so it's not that hard to drive on over. So they do get there, and they do have beaucoup military people around forming skirmish lines and tanks and helicopters and all that sort of thing. They face a very large sphere which is glowing, and as I mentioned formerly with the one at the outset, kind of alive with radiating bands and doodads inside, and apparently radiating light outside into the environment. As I mentioned, it is rather sizable. They gather around this, and for some reason inexplicable, it seems that Jennifer Connelly's character is the de facto spokesperson contact in regard to these beings. The door falls open and she approaches. No one else seems to really do that. They all seem to be kind of stunned, amazed at this. In the background, the military are kind of getting their guns even more at the ready. Gunships, helicopters, and all that, tanks measuring their aim. We see this quintessential alien figure, which we've come to know from E.T. onward and before. That is a creature that is sort of spindly-legged and armed with a torso that is sort of rounded, barrel-chested, and of course it's a hairless wonder. There's no hair anywhere to be seen, which would of course make it feel rather at home in contemporary America. The features are more or less minimalist. And there's that kind of a grayish-green skin. Well, so we have this, what amounts to a kind of a drawbridge or a drop gate come down, and this spindly creature is coming out. Behind him, apparently a little more than bright light. There's light around this sphere. He's coming down. He's bright himself, or her, if that's the case. Dr. Benson is drawn forward almost like a metal to magnet, iron metal. They get closer and closer. It becomes a kind of dramatic as they come closer, and she is like enthralled. It's a magical moment. She kind of reaches out her hand, and this being reaches out its hand to hers, and suddenly a shot rings out, and the alien has been hit. One of the soldiers, apparently perceiving a danger or something of the kind, by the action of the alien, you can't trust some handshakes, I guess, shoots him. Well, now he falls wounded, and right, more or less in the arms of Helen Benson, and they rush this creature to an emergency hospital room where some of the top doctors go to work to try to save him. The trouble is they're totally unsure of what kind of anatomy he may have. They're all familiar with Gray's anatomy, but gray-green, I don't know. It's a matter of using all their high-tech instruments to get a morphological map. They do deduce that the external is a kind of a casing to protect a being within. They finally kind of cut it away, and there is a naked Keanu Reeves. You immediately want them to sew it back up, but no, he's there. They save him and kind of put him into a one of those deals that they sometimes put babies in when they're very prenatal, shortened termed, to protect it from the germs of the environment and whatnot. They put him in something like this, and he eventually comes around. Regina Jackson is very much interested in finding out what's going on. She wants to debrief him. She wants to find out, too, if he is, let's say like a Russian or something like this, given to dishonest comments and stuff like this. She's going to debrief him. She wants the real stuff. She wants to know he's telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So a decision was made to give him a polygraph test to kind of get an idea of just the level of truthfulness these aliens are capable of. We do see this happen. Prior to this happening, there is a period in which Dr. Benson and Keanu Reeves' character Klaatu are able to communicate somewhat, a meeting of the minds. They seem to have a little bit of simpatico. He's a very cool customer, and obviously someone who is possessed of intelligence and judgmental powers and perhaps physical powers beyond what is normally confronted in human life. Still, Dr. Benson is a Princeton egghead, and that may possibly impress even Klaatu. At any rate, if not, she will eventually introduce him to her old professor, John Cleese, played by John Cleese, Professor Bernhardt, and we will have Klaatu conclude a mathematical equation which the professor was working on and had not quite deduced correctly. While watching Klaatu do this, by the way, you could see Professor Bernhardt working with him. We see that there is a ballpark equality in the way, in their intelligence, if not their actual physical gifts and so forth, and that it would be possible maybe to communicate with at least some of the better humans. So how does that bode for Joe Sixpack? I would say not too good. Now, we do have this rather amusing episode in which a polygraph is given, a test is given to Klaatu. I don't recall who the actor was who played this, but it was a scene that kind of stuck in my mind. I thought it was a rather vivid and amusing one. At any rate, Klaatu turns the tables on this polygraph test operator, apparently frying the guy, but at any rate, certainly knocking him unconscious. And from there, Klaatu leaves. He's kind of snooping around. He does communicate with Dr. Benson on a few occasions as he's out and about. She is trying to convince him of the worthiness of humans, and he has I would say, a prejudice against humans brought to him from outer space. And actually, his mission here is in part, is to gather together samplings of human life, not human life, subhuman life, of animal life, vegetables and so forth, perhaps. And a kind of a Noah's Ark has been fashioned by the aliens to collect these specimens and to take them out, to preserve them if they prove in the minds of the aliens worthy of preservation, perhaps to replant them elsewhere. So we see this oddity that these aliens perceive these lower forms of life as more worthy than humans. They have made the judgment that humans are hopelessly violent, envious, and given to duplicity and other negative character traits, which, in conjunction with their level of increasing scientific diabolicalness, their ability to fashion weapons of mass destruction, as it were, it's almost if the aliens were like W and Earthlings are like Saddam Hussein, and it just, Quietus is in the picture here or something. But at any rate, the character Klaatu is out and about. He does meet one of his own. This is a deep cover alien that he is aware of, who has been here, let's say 60 years, 40, 60 years, something like this. Oddly enough, this man, played by James Hong, Mr. Wu, has married and fathered children and so forth. He's a grandfather, I believe. So whatever the material that these aliens use to fashion their external disguise or costume, physiologically speaking, it's pretty authentic. Mr. Wu, at a sit-down with Klaatu in a diner or something of the kind, a cup of coffee, tells Klaatu that he has come to love humans, that they has much good about humans, and this sort of thing, that he stands with humans, that if humans have to perish, he wants to perish with them. And so we get this kind of input to work upon the mind of Klaatu. We have Dr. Benson also. So he is there weighing. He has his former prejudices he came here with, and he's getting new input. And maybe, just maybe, he may change his mind. Maybe humans will be given another chance. So he has had also the chance of meeting Jacob Benson. Jacob Benson didn't like him at all to begin with. He kind of perceives him as the sort of person his father would have shot dead at the first look, perhaps beating him up first or something of the kind. But as he stays around Klaatu a little bit more, he perceives that he's not quite the sissy he first thought he was. that in fact he has some pretty wild powers, actually. So this sort of changes and turns Jacob a little bit in favor of Klaatu. And at the same time, he seems to be drawing closer to his stepmom, Jennifer Connelly, Helen Benson. So we have all these forces kind of working in a positive way that may be positively affecting Klaatu. And so the moment comes, it's a nick in time kind of situation of whether or not to go ahead and for the sake of the lower forms of life on Earth and for the universe itself, perhaps to terminate humanity with extreme prejudice. The message is that we are going to get one more chance. Well, that's it, folks. A wrap. We're out of time again. This is Top Hat and Buttered Popcorn. My name is John Savers. I'm your host. I do appreciate your tuning in and hope to see you again at our next Top Hat and Buttered Popcorn.